Okay, Father Time here for part 2 of Boeing pilot attempts to simulate or qualify himself on the Fenix A-320. When we last left you, we had de-iced off the gate, turned on the engine anti-ice. We had gotten our holdover time, which was, let's call it 35 on the bottom, 48 on the top. We are the only airplane operating in this nor'easter on the entire East Coast. This probably speaks volumes of my pilot IQ, or lack thereof. We are going to taxi out. Now, we do not have our flaps out. We didn't do our normal after start flow. We just got the engine started, engine ice on after de-icing, established our holdover time, got our apps working, counting down on the holdover. Prior to that bottom number of the holdover, we just do a cockpit inspection. After the first number on the lower side, we have to go back in the back. Flight attendant has to come up, co-pilot has to go out with a flashlight, look over the wings. That's called a cockpit inspection. But if we hit that top number of the holdover, our holdover time has expired and the precipitation still exists. If there's no precipitation, you don't have a holdover time. Then we would, but if we had a holdover time had expired, we'd had to go back for de-icing, go back to the gate, or be looked over by a certified de-icing inspector at the end of the runway, because we have to take off within 5 minutes after that visual without the holdover time expired. That's where we are. Flaps are up. We've told Tower we need to taxi to the end of the runway. They told us Fenix 123, go straight ahead on Charlie, left on Mike, hold short of runway 34. That's what we're doing. So let's go fly over to Kennedy in this nor'easter, and I should have the nose lights, taxi lights on, beacons are on, taxi lights are, we'll go to takeoff nice and bright. All right. Parking brake released. Let's go. So guys, once again, if you don't know me, I'm a 777 captain. I retire in September, unless they raise the retirement age to 67, and I'm going to stay on. I don't care what the junior guys say. They can suffer with me for another couple of years. I have never flown the modern day Airbuses. I flew the A300, but that was an old Airbus, kind of operated like a Boeing. So I'm trying to train myself, my brain mostly, how to fly these things. This Fenix A-320 is fantastic. What a product. PMDG 737, 738-800, that's a great airplane too. I have flown that one though. It was a lot easier learning that one than this one. Okay, gonna go left on Mike, and right now Providence Ground says, yeah, this is green ground. Green's the name of the airport. Fenix 123, turn left on Mike. You're clear to cross runway 34 and go all the way to the end on Alpha. Slow way down for the turn here, guys. It is slippery. It's not simulated. Oh, it is simulated. We are sliding around. And say, Roger, Fenix 123, taxi Mike, clear to cross runway 34, right on Alpha, hold short of runway 23. And we let them know we have to do some checks down on the end, and when we do take the runway, we're going to have to run up to 70%. So on the ground, if it's been over 30 minutes, you're going to run the engines up to 70% for 30 seconds. If it's freezing rain precip like this and you're below 37 or minus 3 degrees Celsius, which it is, it's 70% N1 for 1 second every 10 minutes for ice shedding. So those are the things you'll be thinking about. All the way to the end, we are in a nor'easter. It's not too windy though. Just a lot of lightning, blowing snow. Holdover time, we still got plenty of time here. So we're not worried about that. So our cockpit inspection looks good. We don't have to get out of the seat to do anything. But we still have the flaps up because we do have contaminated taxiways and we have a contaminated runway. So we have 1/2 inch contaminated data loaded into the box, which we got from our dispatch. So taxiing, we're at 17 knots now. I want to get down around 5 knots before I make any turns, including getting off the runway after landing. So we're slowing it on down. Our contaminated data lowers the V1 all the way down to 117, which is probably close to min control airspeed. We've got a R and a V2 of 141. So let's go to the end of the runway. Told us to hold short. Now what? Yeah, we'll just hold short and park the brakes, and we'll do our after start flow and checklist. We get turned here. Yeah, we're sliding around pretty good here. Contaminated runway. That's if 25% or more of the runway that you're intending on using is contaminated. You have to have contaminated runway data. Now, a lot of times the pilots have to make the call. The trucks don't. So what I'm going to do, guys, we're going to do the after float. We're going to go to flaps 2, spoilers armed, auto brakes max. Max is for takeoff only. Medium, you don't use max on landing. We do a flight control check. Oh, I'm sorry. Can get the APU bleed is off. APU's coming off. And I'm going to pretend we're clear for takeoff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get these going because it gets pretty busy as we get going. I'm trying this new Legacy arrows. If you go in between these two, they come up together. Been watching a lot of videos. That one's on. Nav logo. We already had that on. Seatbelt sign should have been on. Flight attendants prepared for takeoff. We would have cycled. Hard no smoking sign. Emergency lights are on. I'm just making sure I got everything right here. We're not going to run the wipers. We're not going to need them. All right, so look outside. Ailerons, elevators, rudder, flight control check. That's the before takeoff check. Flaps are 2, indicated 2, set for takeoff. Takeoff data and speeds are checked. Weights are all loaded in the, oh, you know what? They're gonna be bothered if I don't do this. I never looked at the closeout numbers, MCDU, and menu, receive messages. I just love this Fenix airplane. We accept it. We've loaded in our takeoff weight CG 29 and 0.3. If you really wanted to look at that, I'll show you how to do that. You probably already know. Let me do instrument view, and I need throttle, quadrant, pedestal. Here it is. Zoom on in. Right there. 29 minus 2. All right, that looks good. Set that on this tick here. Just thought you might want to see that. All right, back out front. All right, takeoff brief, my takeoff. If we have to abort, tell tower they have really poor visibility, even though we're the only aircraft out here. I'll keep forward pressure on the yoke due to the braking. I'll keep the engines full reverse, then idle reverse until we're stopped, because we don't want to come out of reverse idle like we normally do. You'll surge ahead and start sliding around. If we have to turn off the runway, it'll be 5 knots or left to turn off. Okay, and one last check at look at the ECAM. Everything looks good there. And I like to take off with engine page 2. All right, you can tell tower we are ready. And flight attendants are all told everyone is ready to go. Yeah, Providence Tower, this is Fenix 123, ready for takeoff. Just to remind us, sure, we are going to need 30 seconds on the runway. Fenix 123, you're clear for takeoff. Understand, and just let us know when you're rolling. We'll do that, Fenix 123. All right, so final is clear. Lights are all on. Flight attendants are chimed. 70% N1 until for 30 seconds before we release brakes. Not an Airbus pilot, guys. I am a Boeing pilot trying to figure this airplane out. I'm loving it. Love the Fenix model. My intent is to get fully qualified on this in the sim in my own little pea brain. I'll take a little check ride with non-ILS engine out work, Cat 3, which I'm going to do today at Kennedy, and visual approach. I'm not going to get any systems exams. I wouldn't know what the heck I was talking about right now, right? So I'm never going to be fully qualified. We are a little bit left to center line. Not how you want to start off your takeoff roll. Plenty of runway, so I'm going to let it roll up here and get it signed up. I was looking at one simi. This is where your nose wheel is, right here on this bar on the A320. On the Boeings, your nose wheel is where the speed tape is. Anyway, I digress. So if that's true, we're cocked a little right, and nose wheel's probably on the runway. Let's look. Yep, that's okay. Brakes are set. No, brakes are set. I'm standing on the brakes. We're going to bring the power up to 70% N1. If you look at what this tick is, it should be 70. Start the clock. This is shedding the ice, checking for reasonableness, looking at the vibrations. Everything seems good. Yeah, yesterday I stopped right after de-icing, and I actually continued to Kenny, but the OBS studio stopped recording, so I'm having to do this over again. But okay, that's good enough. 30 seconds. Brakes released. Toga. Center line, center line, center line. V1's only 117 due to the contaminated runway, and it definitely is contaminated. There's 80 knots, acceleration check, no clogged pitot tubes today. Forward pressure on the stick. There's V1 at 117. VR and V2 are both 141. Alternating red and white, 3,000 feet remaining. There's rotate. Positive rate, you're up. They didn't get I don't have my transponder on. Something always falls through the cracks, so let me turn on the autopilot. That's good enough. All right, totally unnecessary, but I got back in time. Autopilot's on. Rest easy, Airbus pilots. We're nabbing it. It wants me to go thrust lever to climb, so I bring it back to the climb. It clicked in, and how do I know I got there? It says thrust climb. So it went from white. Now I'm above flap speed, so I can go flaps to 1. Coming to 1. Now, do we need wing anti-ice for above 1,000? Could. There's nothing building on the window wiper or the vertical bar between the two windows 1 and 2. At S speed, we'll be able to bring the flaps up. Slats in, rather. There's S speed. And bring the spoilers down. Motor brakes are disarmed. All right, there's our green dot. That's a clean maneuver. So what do we do? How do we know that the airplane knows what it's doing? Well, we get all dashes and the speed and the heading. Remember, this is stream of consciousness. Not really accurate discussions since I'm not an Airbus pilot. This should be 2992, by the way. 16,000. We've got dashes here. It's doing what's in the box. It's 250. We've got climb and nav. Alt is armed because that's our next capture in blue is 16. So the airplane's going to continue up to 16, level off. We are going to just stay on our route, and I'm going to use automated flight. We'll brief it up, talk about contaminated landings, category 3s. I'll let the airplane make the first crossing restriction at Calverton, which is going to be 250 and 12, or at least it has been for the last 36 years that I've been flying in and out of Kennedy. Calverton's CCC 250 at 1, 2. A lot of head down, right? Not good. Put that in. Insert. You see the magenta? That's what's in the box. That's what it's going to try to comply with. I'm also going to set rover which is our IAF for 180. I want to be really slow at Rover and 3,000, and I want to give myself every chance. I'll tell you right now, something's going on. With this 180 and 3,000, the ILS over at Kennedy, because I can get the engine ice off or above the clouds. I have not been getting a diamond, a magenta diamond for the course in the low. It's been flashing line, flashing ILS freak, yet it does fly Cat 3, so I'm just going to have to ignore that today. I checked the NOTAMs just to see if it was that realistic, and there's no problems with it, so I'm not sure what's going on. All right, coming up out of 10, we can ding the flight attendants, turn off the seatbelt sign, let people run around, and make a PA. Make a PA. I'm going to leave the lights on to the people. And we need to start talking, right? This is where we're going to level off. We need to start talking because we got a lot to brief on the way over there. Number one thing I would do is get in and do the landing data on this app here. Tour braking, that's Kennedy winds, and I get that in, and it would come out to around 4,900 to 5,000 feet, and it's an 8,500 foot runway. And it's going to be medium brakes, spoilers arm, flaps full. All right, I'd say your aircraft, say Roger, my aircraft, I'm going to brief the approach. Now what I'm going to do is get you a nice view of this approach here. We've got a ways till we have to worry about electronic flight bag. I've got Navigraph. What's this? Kennedy, starred, airport is Rosley. All right, so ILS 22, category 3, 21-4, 110.9, 224. So we come in here, 110.9. So it's auto tune. The course, I wonder if I put in F224. Maybe that does it. Maybe I'll hard tune the ILS. Because, yeah, I tried this before, and unfortunately the OBS didn't record, which was a shame since it worked out so well. I was very pleased with myself. Let's take a look at that. All right, you guys are seeing it, right? 110.9. I'm going to put in 224. You know why? It wants me to say front course 224. The other guy is flying the airplane. Don't be afraid. Front 224. So I'm going to try manually tuning it. 110.9, 224, and see if that works when we get there. Okay? All right, so we're leveling off at 16. The other guy's flying. What do we got on our thing? We've got nav and alt. Alt should go from star to capture here in a moment. And there it is, alt cruise. So we know he knows where it is. Now I'm going to set this up for the whole descent. I'm going to set this altitude down to 3,000 for Rosley. Right? And I'm going to push it. It tells me it's going to cross. See that? I put 3 in the window for Rosley because they told us to descend at our leisure, and that's Calverton at 250 and 12. That tells me it's coming down. Alt and magenta means it's going to honor that before it continues to descend in green. So these two magenta lines, remember it's stream of consciousness. I'm just regurgitating what I learned online. The range that it'll accept. It won't get slower than that, but it's targeting that where the triangle is, magenta triangle. Anyway, let's go back to the briefing. So it's going to be a Cat 3, and he's still got the airplane. We've got a 110-9-224 Zalpo at 18, which we'll call out. Our mandatory calls are load capture, glide slope capture, Zalpo at 18. And the FO is going to be inside the whole time, the captain's landing, and the captain's going to be inside at 300 feet, inside and outside. Anyone sees course deviations that don't meet the standards, plus or minus 5 knots, a third of a dot, or sink rate in excess of 1,000, they have to call it out. We'll go around. On the runway, when we land, we notice that it's not tracking on centerline, either on the PFD or by looking outside. It's autopilot off, call centerline, autopilot off, and control it manually. We're in go-around mode. So transition level is 18. Zalpo at 18. We got ALSAFs and PAPIs. PAPIs on the left, ALSAFs on the right. We need 600, 600 advisory. We have 600, 600. That's exactly what we have. Blowing snow, braking action 4, landing distance around 5,000 feet. Keep full flaps and medium braking because we can't go max. And I would say, any questions? And they would say, no. And I would tell them, not in a hurry to get out of reverse. I'll get to idle reverse, but we'll stay in idle reverse until we're down to taxi speed. So look back here, say my aircraft, they say roger your aircraft. We've done the landing data. We've done the approach briefing. We're going to have to set the auto brakes to medium. That medium. We'll arm the spoilers. We may need them, but let's hope not. Arm the spoilers. Arrival briefing is complete. We check the ACAR's ECAM status. Normal. Hard to recall anything? Nope. Everything's normal. How are we doing on fuel? We're good. 9,600. Got enough fuel for one approach, then we go to over to Philadelphia. That's our alternate. Anyway, guys, that is our briefing. I sure hope this records. Yeah, I did this whole thing. It really came out good. I was sitting there bragging to myself, and then OBS, I noticed, stopped recording at 15 minutes. I'm having a little problem with that. I do admit. Don't know what I'm doing wrong. All right, so we're gonna let it do Calverton at 250 and 12, and then I'm gonna come over here somewhere between Calverton and Rover as it goes towards Deer Park, and I'm gonna pull on the altitude knob with the arrow down, and then it's gonna be going into a descent, idle power descent, flying the speed that's in the FMS. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna actually pull on the speed knob as well, and it's the equivalent of level change. And I'm going to control the speed and descent, but I'll let it do its Calverton dealie here. It's going to be a 250 at 12 because we programmed it to be, just to demonstrate to my Airbus friends that Captain Boeing has a basic idea. I couldn't pass a real check ride right now. I'll see this. This is a good indication. So altitude constraint, because that's 250 at 12. It's telling us that because we have 3,000 in the window. This is the top magenta line, the bottom magenta line. That's what the FMS thought it was going to be doing. This is what it's doing. It won't let itself go below that. Next thing it will do is should slow down to cross Calverton at 250 at 12. Stream of consciousness. I'm going to get the engine ice on. I'm going to get the lights on because it's going to get busy going forward. Strobes are on. These lights you can put up together somehow. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. On. And put the seatbelt back on. Tell the flight attendants to prepare early. I'd call back there, Tell them there's a lot of weather in the area. It might get a little bumpy on the descent. All right, so this is going to be Calverton. Should be going for 250 at 12. Let me make sure I have that, right? It wants me to enter the destination data. So flight plan is briefed. We did that. ILS is set up. RadNav, we checked that. Progress. I'd like to put in Kennedy. See the distance for the field in case they clear as direct. And then perf. And perf, we're going to go next page. Whatever you do, don't hit approach page. I did that. Not a good idea. Put in the altimeter. Temperature is -5. Wind is 220 at 10. By the way, auto land limits are 25 knots headwind, 15 knots crosswind, 10 knots tailwind. We're going to say we have it. Reapproach for full flaps is 141. It's slowing down now to 250 at 12 at Calverton. It's doing its job, and that's the altitude constraint. After Calverton, it should continue down to 3 for Wrottesley, but we're going to take it over and do a level change just to demonstrate that I know how to do that. It's going to 230, the bottom number. So it's happy in that range. If you wanted to take it over, you could. You can come over to the speed window and click up and change it, but now it's stabilizing at 230. It's quite happy in this range, isn't it? It's supposed to be 250 at 12, but we're the only airplane in the sky. All right, so now we're good to continue our descent. Let's try that, guys. Let's try. We're going to arm. That's this way. Pull on that, and we're going to pull out on that. Now we are in level change. You got to pull on them both. Flight level change, and what we should see is, I think it's OPT descent. OPT descent, that's idle power descent. Idle power. Now we have the engine ice on, so idle power RPM is higher. It's airplane doesn't descend like it normally would. The reason I'm doing this is I want to be nice and slow at Wrottesley. Get down, slow down. I hope this goes well. More importantly, I hope OPS records it so I can finish this segment and post it. Not much to do. Out of 10, we already sterilized him, but we'd cycled no smoking. Yeah, Captain Fat Fingers. All right, lights are all on. Ice is on. Dome, right, enunciator. Okay, all that stuff is all good. And here we go. Now we're just doing this pilot stuff. We're descending at 230 knots, only aircraft in the sky. Crazy Boeing captain out here. You want to glance at your pages. That's our fuel. Got ground oil, ground spoilers armed, easy for me to say. Seatbelts on, predictive wind shear is off, engine ice is on, ice is not detected. If it was, you might want to think about getting the wing anti-ice on. You saw it on the window. I'm going to go engine page 2. Everything looks normal there. And here we go. Check the Kennedy weather. It's stinky. 600, 600, they're calling. So we are good for a category 3. Actually, did I set my baro and radio? I did not. I need to set this at 0. Yeah, what the Airbus guys use is flight plan, RAD, PP. Flight plan, RAD, PP. Some of them go secondary and fuel predict, but that's the big one. So that's full flaps, 0. We've reviewed how to do our Cat 3. Yeah, sometimes you haven't done a Cat 3 for, well, not in the airplane for even a couple of years. But if you haven't been to the simulator in 7 or 8 months, you definitely want to review it. 5 or 6 months, definitely want to review it. ahead of time. The required calls, considerations. Oh, by the way, after landing, we talk about we're going to leave the engine ice on, and we're going to bring the flaps only up to 3. We need to leave them out, and that's so they can be inspected prior to being retracted, because on a contaminated runway like we're going to have, there's a possibility you'll crunch the gears and the mechanisms inside with the accumulated slush and snow that would be trapped up in the flap tracks. So we'll do that. Remember, idle reverse till 5 knots or so to turn off. I want to get to about 5 knots. That's my technique before I turn off. 6 for 3. We are, a long way to Rosley, getting down to slow down. This is kind of realistic. You tell ATC it's category 3, you're going to need to get configured nice and early and stable. I'm going to be almost fully configured, if not fully configured, at Rosley. Normally you'd wait till just outside of Zalpo. I hope you're enjoying this, guys. Boeing pilot learns to fly the Fenix A-320. If you wouldn't mind subscribing and liking if you did like it, and subscribing if you want more of my videos, I would really appreciate it. That would help me a lot. Trying to get my subscriber count up. As I mentioned, part of my retirement plan. This is, I'm going to do some of these videos. I'm very new to Microsoft Flight Simulator, very new to the sim world, extremely new to YouTube. I really admire these guys who have these sophisticated productions, and some of them are Airbus pilots, so they really know what they're talking about. I can't wait till the PMDG 777 comes out. I'll be the man. And I'll do a review on that bad boy day 1. I'll actually know what I'm doing. The other one I'm looking forward to is the TMDI MD-11. I flew that 1,000 years ago, and I tried to get in their beta program, the testing, but I was too late. It's 4 for 3, it's mandatory call out. See how the magenta lines have disappeared? That's because the FMC is no longer involved in your airspeed. You're basically just at a level change. You're flying it, you're controlling everything. Yep, so when we go approach, which is somewhere in here, we'll go approach, you're supposed to get loc and glide slope in blue, which you will. It's out star, it means it's about to capture, and when the star goes away, it's out capture and out capture. But it's been coming up with a flashing ILS. I've been getting no magenta diamond for the course or the glide slope. It's been rather disturbing, but it did fly it. It did capture and fly it. Naturally, I would have gone around in a normal situation. Let's see if by tuning it manually, I had better luck with the indications. I checked the NOTAMs. The ILS is on the air. All right, let's slow it down a little more. Now, speed-wise, we can go to flaps 1 below 230. So, but I can't go below the green dot, which is 218. So I'll set 218. And I'll go flaps 1 when I'm below 230. Now I can take it all the way down to slat speed. Let's do that. There we go. See the blue dot clicking down. I'm up here on the FCP. Everybody calls it a different name. When can we go flaps 2? Flaps 2 at 200. So there's 200. We'll go flaps 2. I'm going to go spoiler's arm, medium on the braking. I'm going to be nice and slow and configured at Rosley and give myself a fighting chance. I'll get the approach arm somewhere in here and get the second autopilot on for the auto land. I can even bring the speed back a little more. When can we go flaps 3 at 185? So let's bring it down to 180. And I'll go flaps 3. And when can we go flaps 4 after the gear's down? Flaps full at 177. So I told you I'm going to be at RYZEN, kind of fully configured. I'm going to bring the speed back to flap speed, it down below 170. And this is really ridiculous, but I'm going to give myself a fighting chance. I'm going to go gear down. And below 177, gear is down when the gear is green. Airplane seems to know what it's doing. It's green, I'm going to go flaps full. This is not unrealistic. This is probably a little bit early. But we try to get configured as early as possible and let the airplane be stable. I'm going to fly at 150 final. And now I'm going to come over here, moment of truth. I'm going to arm the approach and I'm armed the second autopilot. And what do we get? We get, look, see the flashing ILS? That's not good. That would be a no-go. Glide slope arm, low arm. Somewhere in here we get the magenta ILS course displayed. I wonder if I'm doing something wrong. If anybody who flies this airplane, feel free to leave a comment for me if you think it's something I'm doing wrong. What did I say my speed was anyway? 141 plus 5 is 146. But you know what? With the ice accumulation coming in, the snow, I'm going to let it fly at 150. I don't know if the wings... We'd be checking the wipers, vertical between the windows, no accumulation, no ice. It's got engine ice. Yeah, it's good. I'm happy. Don't let me put the flaps up or turn off the engine ice after landing. Wishful thinking. If we have to go around, we'd brief that. If we going around, toga, flaps 20, flaps 3, positive rate gear upset, misapproach altitude. And then above, we go heading select or LNAV somewhere, nav somewhere in there. Apply the heading that the tower gives us. Clean it up above 1,000, like a normal cleanup. All right, so we got, it's nerve-wracking. We got glide slope capture, arm, low arm, flashing ILS, which isn't good. Will it do it? All right, it's turning on in nav, right? It's turning on the final in nav. Normally, you would have a course coming across, a magenta course coming across, and you'd be looking. You would have an idea when it was going to capture, but it's not going to do that. But last time I flew it, which didn't record, it did in fact capture. This is the vertical nav profile. It's going to go a little above that. Oh, by the way, I need to put constraints in here. Zalpo at 18 is what we'll be looking for. Come on, baby. It's going a little above. Low capture, glide slope. So that's armed. It should be capturing momentarily. This is good, guys. This is good. Father Time happy. Oh, it's descending. We still have a star. Looking for that star to go away, so we're fully captured. So our mandatory callouts are going to be glide slope capture, low capture, although it's still on star. There we go, glide slope capture, low capture. And we're going to call Zalpo at 1800. I am very pleased, very pleased. If this was a category 1, we would have a decision height set of 212. It's 200 AFL. We'd have to see the runway at decision height, the runway lights at decision height. Remember those ALSTEP lighting? And we have to see the runway at 100 feet.
2,500.
So at 200 we see the runway lights. At 100 feet we'd have to see the runway. But here we don't have to see anything. Well, the captain will start integrating some checks inside and outside at 300. All right, this approach altitude is set. Everyone's staying inside. Plus or minus 5 knots on the speed. Third of a dot on the glide slope, course, which you don't have, which I'm bothered by, which is probably something I'm doing wrong. Yep. I'm afraid to touch anything. Like I'm wondering if I go to rose mode. if they would pop up. We're not going to do that though. All right, let's get ready to do this pilot stuff. I'm very excited that it's working. I'd be more excited if OBS recorded this. We're not going to see anything probably until right about the 100 feet with 600 RVR. We might not see anything till 50 feet, but we don't have to see anything. Why to go manual thrust? Lever to climb. Lever to climb. Don't know. That must be preparation for a go-round. Low capture, glide slope capture. That's an Airbusism. Come on, baby. All of a sudden, I can't hear myself talk. I wonder if my mic shut off here. That'd be very disappointing. 1,000 stable. Remember, at 300 feet, the pilot flying is inside and outside. Yeah, it's starting to stutter a little bit here, guys. The frames per second. Well, we're going, baby. Starting to pick up heavy precip. We're getting our little Fenix A-320 flight path simulation. That's kind of cool.
500.
Stable target, sinking 800. At 300, I'll be inside, outside. Right now, we're all inside. Go around's the only call you would say. 300, inside, outside. Remember, if we there's 200. There's the approach lights. 100. There's the runway.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Retard.
All right, we're going to bring reverse in. Auto brakes are on. Full reverse. My airspeed indicator is locked up. Auto brakes are off. Autopilot is off. You know what? I think my sim is crashing here. The airspeed indicators, if you look down there, is 150 knots. So anyway, we leave our flaps. We can bring them to 3, but that's it. And I would say flaps up, after landing checklist, tell tower when we're clear. Bring the spoilers in, down. Yeah, it's funny, the airspeed indicator locked up on me there, but that's the simism. I crossed cockpit checked and both of us had that, but that's how it's done. So let's call this Boeing pilot successfully lands the Fenix A-320 in category 3. And I should be going really slowly on these contaminated taxiways. Yeah, Fenix 123, it's Kennedy Tower. You're clear to cross runway 22 right, straight ahead on Alpha. What gate you going into? We're going into gate 8, sir, November Charlie. And we're going to leave the engine ice on and the flaps at 3. Oh, they went all the way up. That's not good. I told you not to put them up. All right, let's stop here. That's enough of this video. I'm not even sure it recorded. Park the brakes. All right, guys, if you wouldn't mind subscribing and liking, I'm going to come back soon. I got to fly some trips here. And then I'm going to do a simulated check ride, 3-part series with non-ILS engine out work, category 3, sort of like I just did. I don't have to do the weather as bad. Hand-flown single engine out work, hand-flown final, and a visual. And then I'll have to do a loft, which is similar to this, and see if I pass myself. And at that point, if I think I pass myself, which I will, because I'll just do it over again, I'm going to do a little fly-off between the A320 by Phoenix and the PMGG 73800 to end the debate once and for all as to what's better, the Boeing or the Airbus. They're both great, actually. But anyways, Father Time out. Thanks for coming. Give me a subscribe. Thanks.